Well, hi everyone, once again. One of the most dangerous things I've ever done was drive through Africa. These are true tales of my African adventures. May this inspire you, deter you, caution you, and above all, entertain you. What was dangerous was the driving, because in some places like in Zambia, narrow roads, the grass is taller than your car on the left and the right. There are potholes which just turn up, you don't see them, especially at dusk. Don't drive at night, it's suicide. And if a truck comes at you, a big, huge Pantechnicon carrying goods, and they just about take up the road. They don't get off the road, they don't slow down, you've got to get off the road. And you go off into that grass, you don't know if there's a tree stump, a hole off the ground, slopes away into a ravine. It was terrifying. But the animals, always have to watch out for the animals. So we started our trip off by going into Botswana, to the Okavango swamps. And we went to a game reserve called Moremi. Now we camped in a section near the administration block, but there are no fences around the camp. And a few days before we got there, a pride of lions had spent some time just near the camp on the road and were knocking about there. Elephants are in the park all the time. When you come in and you set up camp, they're just elephant droppings everywhere, and the bush is always disturbed and broken branches, etc. And other animals too, as you will hear. So it was myself and my daughter. She's an intelligent, well-educated girl. She's good-looking. She's a nice person. Good to go traveling with her, but of course, as father, you must make sure your daughter is safe, because things can happen. So my first thing was, all right, it's not dark yet. We need to make a fire. We need to have a bit of recreation. We need to go to the ablution block, which is not far away. All this is going to happen in daylight, because once it's dark, walking the 50 meters or 80 meters to the ablution block, you could be picked up by lions, you could be picked up by hyenas. There might be an elephant that's crept in nearby and he would get upset with you. All sorts of things can go wrong, and besides, a lot of big snakes there, mambas and cobras and so on. No fence. So I said to Sara, and she knows the bush, she's grown up in Africa, she's been in the bush herself, she's grown up with me. Our family, we wildlife people. So she knew it wasn't something distant or remote. So we got the fire going, and we were making food on the fire, and now it was getting a little more dark. The sun was now close to the horizon as it was setting. I thought I'd go for a quick walk to the bathroom, my own bathroom, behind some bushes at the edge of the camp. It was closer to the ablution block. And when I got there, I found it must be more than 100 shoes, but only a single shoe of each one. And I thought, what on earth is going on here? A shoe graveyard for left shoes or right shoes of different types. I thought, no, come on, man. And I looked at them, and they were shoes that hyenas had stolen. You know, you go to bed in your tent or in your vehicle, and you leave your shoes outside because that's what you've done all your life at home. You go to bed, you put your shoes next to the bed or something. Not here. The hyenas come along, they can smell your sweat and grime from inside the shoe, grab a shoe and go and sit behind the bushes and chew it like a piece of jerky or biltong. They never finished a shoe by the look of it, but sure did chew them up. High-heeled shoes, flat shoes, slip-slops, sneakers, boots, the lot. All single shoes, either left or right. And it was a veritable shoe graveyard, a hyena shoe graveyard. I never knew such a thing existed. Anyway, when I got back, first thing I did was tell Sara, put your shoes in the vehicle. And if you'd like to know why, I'll show you. Well, I told her in any case. Put my boots in and anything else. Anything, because hyenas have jaws. I mean, they have got virtually, I think, the strongest bite of any animal, pounds per square inch. They crunch bones. They crunch big bones. They can kill with biting. Incredible creatures. So there we were. We finished our dinner and decided to have a little drink, which we did, and we were chatting just before it got dark. And unbelievably, next thing, there's a hyena's mouth right next to Sara's face. I mean, literally, as if it wanted to rest its jaw on her shoulder. And she saw it, and she leapt up and sent her chair flying. I was just transfixed. I thought, what an absolute damn cheek. This hyena coming right up to her face. Now, let me tell you, you can Google it. There are children, youngsters, and no difference with an adult, who have had their jaws bitten off while sleeping at night in a tent. There are others who've been horribly disfigured with masses of operations to reconstruct their faces, eyes taken out, head, top of the head. It's just unbelievable what these things do. And they will go for you if you're sleeping at night and they're hungry and they can get at you. Have dragged people out of tents into the bush, some never to be seen again. So, understanding this and knowing all this, when this hyena's face was like right next to Sara like this, I got such a fright. I thought it was going to take a munch. But it didn't. It got a bit of a fright. And then, of course, I went for the hyena and it backed off. So we decided, tell you what, good time to get in the Land Rover, which we did. And it was now, in any case, getting dark. And the lions have to be somewhere, and there's no reason why they shouldn't be where we are. And if a lion decides to go for you in the dark, and it was very bushy all around us, Mopani bush, Mopani trees. If a lion decided to go for us, that's it. That's it. Tickets, that's the end. So I thought best we get in the Land Rover. The following day, we went out for a drive, absolutely incredible drive. We saw crocodiles, we saw hippos, we saw we were going along, and suddenly Impala just came bounding out of this bush, jumping at heights of 2 or 3 meters. One actually went right over our bonnet, and we thought, oh, what's chasing them? And they were scattering all directions, and this lioness came out of the bush and stopped right in front of us, didn't even look at us. It just wanted to see where its lunch had gone. And it was so tense with its muscles sticking out. If I could have captured that photograph, it would have been the most unreal photograph. They get so tense, so wound up, and especially when they're lean and hungry and mean and in their peak, and every muscle sticks out like a ripple under the skin. And they look so absolutely nonchalantly fierce. Terrible, terrible sight. A magnificent sight. But from the point of view of being prey, you would not want to see that. Anyway, we had this wonderful day, saw all these creatures. Got back to camp in time to go to the ablution block. We were now closer to another ablution block. And we had a different place. It was with plenty of time. Go and shower, go back, make a fire, etc. Now, we had a soccer ball. It was 2010 World Soccer Cup was to be played in South Africa. And Sara had bought a 2010 World soccer ball, World Cup soccer ball. 2010, a nice blue one, for us to kick around. And at some stage to give to some lucky soul somewhere in Africa. So the ball was there, and she went to the ablution blocks, and she had a shower and freshened herself up, etc. Came back, now it was my turn, I went. Now earlier on in the day, I just don't get it, you know, tourists sometimes they drive me to absolute despair. There's a big bull elephant with a younger bull elephant and a few cows, not far from where we were parked, in fact, under some camel thorn trees, and they were munching away. This tourist comes into the park, drives almost up to them, gets out the car and starts taking photographs. And the bull just went for him. And he ran, he stumbled, he tossed his camera in the air. I don't know if he ever retrieved it. Dived into the vehicle and drove off. And then the bull backed off. You can't do that. You can't do that. You can't go into... This is wild. These animals are wild. They become accustomed to seeing humans. But you can't just walk out and walk up to an elephant. I mean, if you go to Africa, don't do that sort of thing. Take advice. Take my advice. If you see a wild animal, stay in your car. If you get out the car, you get what you deserve. So they'd done that. Anyway, Sara's now back at the vehicle. I'm showering. And whilst I'm busy showering, I hear Sara yelp. And she's not a yelpy person. So she yelped. I thought, oh my God, but it was a distressed yelp. And I thought, okay, is it a lion? Is it the elephants at her back? What is it? Is she being attacked by something? And of course, you don't have firearms. You're not allowed to take firearms there. But you've got to go because I'm the dad. You must take care of your daughter. So I must run, see what I can do. If she's yelping, something's wrong. And it has to do with an animal. And that's that. She wouldn't yelp if it was a chameleon or a mongoose or a squirrel. So I knew it was something else. So I grabbed my towel as I was running out because I was completely naked. And it just doesn't go down well to run through campsites naked. So as I was running, I wrapped the towel around myself and tucked it in nice and tight. And lo and behold, there was a hyena, had come for her again. I don't know if it was the same one and thought she smelled particularly delicious or something. But she was now perched, hanging from the side of the Land Rover with legs out of reach. And the stupid hyena was trying to munch the 2010 soccer ball. But because he couldn't quite get his mouth around it, every time he bit, he would knock it forward. So it looked like he was playing soccer. And this would have been a photograph of the century had I had a camera. Because just to see this, 2010 soccer ball, blue, 2010 written on it, and this hyena shoving it around, it would look like the most beautiful advert for the 2010 soccer games. So that was what was happening. I rushed at the hyena, got a fright, it ran off, I retrieved the soccer ball, put the soccer ball in the car, and we thought, okay, shoes, everything else, including the soccer ball from now on, in the vehicle. Hey, by the way, I do have Patreon, so you can join me there too.